Students, in this lecture, we are going to discuss the plants in pharmaceutical industry. Definitely in pharmaceutical industry, we need different equipments, manpower, machinery, and the methodology in order to produce the product of the required standard. So in a pharmaceutical industry or in a plant, you basically involve 5M, and these are M are the first M is the money, material, man, method, and the machinery. So when you brought all these 5M together, then this will result in an ideal production system, and definitely this will result in the formulation of the product. Now, what is a pilot plant in a pharmaceutical industry? In a pharmaceutical industry, pilot plant is actually a pre-commercial production system in which you try to use a new technology. You are actually testing your product. You are producing a small batch where you produce small volume of the new technology depending on the requirement of the market. Now, you can scale up this process as well. Now, what is a scale up? Scale up is actually the process of increasing the batch size by applying this same process which you were using in your pilot plant. So when summarizing this definition of scale up, this is actually the increase in the batch size. For example, you can scale up your product, you can increase the size of your product according to the market demand. There can be many successful scale up, or there can be multiple scale ups in life cycle of a product depending on the demand of the market. Now, what is scaling down? Scaling down is a term that is opposite to that of the scale up, that is to decrease your batch size, to decrease your production as well. Now, what are the objectives of this pilot plant? The most important objective of this pilot plant is actually to test your methods which you are using, to test your technology, to test your equipments. You are just investing small amount on the business as a trial. So the basic aim of this pilot plant is to find mistakes before investing the larger amount, before going to the larger scale, before scaling up. So it's basically designed to physically and chemically stabilize your dosage form, to test your dosage form. It is designed to evaluate the equipments that you are using, to evaluate the raw materials you are using in your pharmaceutical industry. This is also used to evaluate the physical space requirement. For example, the space that is required for your administrative activities, for the processing activity, for the documentation, for physical testing, for labs, for standard equipment, floor spaces, that how much space your equipments will occupy. This is also a trial to test your storage area, that if at small scale this is acquiring, for example, one room, then how many rooms are required for storing the large scale batch. So basically the pilot plants are providing us the opportunity to investigate our products, to investigate our processes before moving towards the large scale. So conclusion is that this pilot plant is actually a market testing. This is the testing, this is the evaluation for your pharmaceutical industry, for your products, for the spacing, for the raw materials and the equipments you are using in your industry for the formulation.